Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me today, Debbie Marks, on Fireside Chat with Debbie Marks. And the purpose of me putting together this group is I would really like to help other people share with the membership of what you do. What's your story? What's your life like? What's your default future? And by doing so, this meeting is focused on you, not me, and just you. And you want to share with the members. Today, this is the inaugural roll out the red carpet day, and I'm really excited to have everybody here today. So to get started, today we are going to be interviewing Kathy Binner. Kathy Binner is a member of, she actually lives in Canal Winchester, and she is a member of, her website is Kathy Binner International Academy. But first off, let me introduce Kathy herself. Kathy Binner is a passive income coach and a health and wealth educator. She is deeply committed to helping you discover a better, healthier lifestyle and a passive income option so that you can take your next best steps to freestyle living today. Put your choices into action and watch your life change while you sleep. And Kathy's very good at that. She does very well bringing in the passive income while she's sleeping. Her unique background and certifications qualify her to identify the right opportunities, create an individual strategy, and personalize an action plan so that you can live a healthier lifestyle and earn income without having to punch the time clock. How many of you out there are still punching a time clock? She can help you create a plan for personal development. Her quote is this: "Life is just better when we have done work on ourselves. That includes our mental, physical, emotional, social, and financial life. I think it's fair to say personal development makes you happy. You can really argue with that goal." So Kathy, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for being my first guest on Fireside Chat with Debbie Marks.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for that introduction.
I hope I didn't miss too much.
Oh, it's all good.
Well, to get started here, the first thing what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Kathy some questions, and she's going to, in doing this, she will share with us her story, and always keeping in mind this is her story, nobody else's. And I know Kathy personally for like the last since 2016, I think it was. And so Kathy, why did you start the Kathy Binner International Academy?
Wow. I started, of course, as a salon owner, and being a nail tech in a salon, I knew that my days were numbered because it was, you don't think about being in the salon being a physical job, but it really is. When you think about hairstylists, holding their arms up all day, or a nail tech, you know, filing all day. It's just, and you have to sit in a certain position, and it was taking its toll on my body. So the doctor kept saying, I think it's probably time you start thinking about retiring. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So my fear was twofold. Number one, the salon industry really was some pretty decent income, and I was going to give that up if I retired. And number two, I was a little worried about what I was going to do with myself, because I was so used to being busy 10, 12 hours a day that I thought, boy, being retired and just watching soaps all day is going to be really boring. So I thought, what can I do? So Debbie, if you remember, you and I met at Carrie's one time. I didn't know you were going to be there. You didn't know I was going to be there. And we were at a same fellowship meeting, and I turned around and I was like, that's Debbie. I know Debbie. And we were waving. And that was the first meetup that I went to of Carrie's, when he talked about folks possibly taking a lot of the information that they had learned on their own just over the years, just the ground roots of learning how to do something, and turning that into some sort of a coaching type business. And that was my first aha moment, that I decided I wanted to do something like that. So that's when I
Oh,
started exploring, how to put together courses, and then, where I could put those on a platform. And that's actually the very beginnings of the Kathy Benner International Academy.
well, so with that in mind, who would benefit from taking these online courses that you have developed?
Well, that's a great question, because one of the things that I learned with Carrie was, think about your earlier you, your younger version of you. And so I thought to myself, where was it that I struggled? And I really struggled as a single mom. I was working 2 jobs, minimum wage. I had this old car. I'd scraped together enough money to buy this car, but I didn't have enough money to keep the darn thing running. And I was constantly struggling with getting to work on time. And of course, in a minimum wage job, you got to punch that time clock. and,
Yeah.
and you don't dare be late, or you get called in, and you know how it goes. So I just remember those struggles. And so I wanted to keep the actual platform and the courses in the International Academy for folks that either, number one, they don't have the income to go back to school. They don't have maybe the clothes they need to wear to go back to school, or they don't have the time because they are working 2 jobs with kids or whatever. And so those are the folks, no matter where they are in life, if they just want to learn how to add some passive income to their whole overall portfolio, those are the folks that would benefit from those courses.
Wow. So, what would you say are the 5 steps to finding your next best step?
Well, I started off with 5 steps, but I'm not sure that it's just 5 steps these days. It depends on where everyone that's listening to this interview. It depends on where you are with what you want to be doing. And sometimes you have to start even before that. A lot of folks are even like, I don't know what it is that I want to do. I don't know what my passion is that I want to turn into passive income. So sometimes we have to go backwards a little bit and actually find out what their passion is first, and then find out where they are now. I always start with where you are now, because a lot of people always tell themselves, well, if only I would have done this, or I could have done that, or I should have done that. Well, but what did you do? Let's start with exactly where you are. And then I try to put together an actual plan so that they can take the next best step to get to passive income. So it's really different for everyone. I think I started off thinking I was going to have this nice little package of steps to do. And the more folks that I coach, I realize that they're coming into my courses at all different levels.
I see. So, one of your courses is called Fit as a Fiddle. That was your first course that you developed. Can you
Yes.
just kind of give us a little background on that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, oh gosh, I really struggled. I see that Fran's on the call today, and she had made some of the same connections I made back along the way, and I had some health issues, and I read Ann Wigmore's book and some of those other books that were so popular back then, but I ran across a book. And it was a fitness book by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, and it was a way to eat. It just broke down ways that you would combine your food to make your body assimilate the vitamins and minerals and the nutrition better. And so I formulated this whole course called Fit as a Fiddle, off of the book from Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. So anyway, that's kind of how I got started. But then from there, um, I started pulling in all these other different resources. And so now the course probably contains resources from about 10 to 15 different authors of just research that I've done.
Wow, that's really a lot of uh, work that you've done into that, but that shows how passionate you are about being, fit as a fiddle. I mean, to coin a phrase, and I enjoy that. That's a great idea. You put a different twist to learning how to eat properly and lose weight.
Well, and
Um,
everyone asked me, they go, well, what's the best plan? And I said, well, the best plan is whichever one works for you. That's the best plan, because our body types are all different. Our metabolisms are all different. And so again, one diet might have you eating a lot of fresh fruit, but if you're a diabetic and have some issues with sugars, maybe you can't eat that volume of fresh fruit. So that, things like that make a difference. So it's whatever plan works for you. But I think you just need to be mindful to be healthy, because I often say, and you'll hear me say this in a lot of my talks, is that health comes before wealth. What good is making that money if you're going to spend it all at the other end to try to get your health back? So, so health comes before wealth. So I think we have to really pay attention to our health first.
well, that's a great segue into this next question is how did you get started buying real estate and begin your investing?
Well, that's just one of my lanes of passive income. It happens to be my most lucrative lane of passive income, but I can see where some of my other lanes are going to pass it, believe it or not. But originally, the way I got started was I was in the salon industry. And I just wanted to be a nail tech and work for a salon and just take my paycheck and go home at the end of the week. And fate would not have that. As it turned out, the other girls in the salon approached me and they said, Kathy, we really, 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 really need to start our own salon and we want you to help us. And I'm like, because I was kind of the senior person, not only in age, but also in experience of having my own business in the past. And so I reluctantly said, oh, okay, I'll help you. And so from there, we started our own salon. And I soon realized that, you know what, I really, instead of paying rent, for 20 years and having a shoebox full of rent receipts, I really needed to buy a building so that I would have a building paid off in 20 years, because the money we were spending for rent, I know this is hard to believe, is actually more than what our mortgage was when we finally bought our own building.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, people just don't realize that
Mm-hmm.
when you add up your receipts from rent, that you could have bought a house and enjoyed freedom.
Yes. So
Um,
that's how I got started. And from there, I ended up with 5 salons. And so I had 5 commercial buildings by the time I retired. So that's kind of that whole property investing story.
um, so would you define for some of us what passive income is?
Yeah, I will. Passive income, and of course, I didn't quite understand it at first either. I thought maybe passive income just meant you didn't have to get out of bed in the morning.
It'd be
Wouldn't that be
nice.
nice? But passive income, by definition, is actually income that you work for up front. You do all the work up front, and then it pays, I'll call it dividends. It pays over and over and over and over again forever. A good example of passive income might be someone that writes a book, and they do all that work of writing the book, editing the book, publishing the book, getting the story, getting the cover, getting the ISBN number, putting all of that together, and then launching the book and getting an audience to read the book. And then once that takes off, that book can sell for years and it becomes passive income. But they did all that work up front.
Well, I remember when you and I met and we started working, every week from your home. We built on things, and when you decided to retire, you had already put in place in your home 2 rooms, and you now have a B&B.
Yes.
So would you explain how, how that came into being and where you are right now with how many rooms you have in
Okay.
your home?
Well, when we bought the house in 2009, I was still hot and heavy in the salon industry. I was still working, 10, 12-hour days, did not have a retirement date in sight at all. And so, we were just living in the house. And so then when I finally decided that, okay, I really was going to retire. And one of the things that I did is I worked with my coach as to choosing that actual date, like draw a line in the sand. When is it that you're going to retire? Because it was so hard for me because I loved all my customers. I loved the income. I loved everything about it. And so I kept thinking next year, I'll retire next year. And I kept doing that. I'll retire next year.
I remember.
And so finally, with the prompting of my coach and Debbie, you'll know him, Cardiff Hall. I think we saw him for the first time at one of Carrie's meetups. Cardiff came and was a speaker, and he was just launching his book Tide Turners. And so I signed on to coach with him for about 4 weeks. He just had a little 4-week package. I decided to do that coaching package with him because I knew I was struggling with this whole retirement thing. So one of the things that we did is we did an extensive search into my why. Why did I want to retire? And so finally it came down to I needed to retire because of my health. I wanted to get healthy. And so once I determined that, then picking the date was a little easier. And so he kind of twisted my arm into drawing a line in the sand that this is the date. And I finally did that. But then one of the things that concerned me, like I mentioned earlier, was the income was pretty good from the salon. And so I thought, well, how can I offset some of that income that I'm going to be missing? And so I approached Mark and said, what do you think? What do you think about opening a bed and breakfast or a guest house? And he was like, what? And so I said, let's just do one room and see if we even like it. We might decide that it's just not for us. And so we just did one room, and I put it out on Airbnb at first. We didn't even go through the city and do all of that background work. We just put it out on Airbnb to see if we would like it. And so we had a few guests, and it was okay. And so Mark agreed. He said, all right, let's go forward. So then I did all the paperwork, all the application process. We went through all the inspections with the city, and we opened officially as a bed and breakfast, guest house bed and breakfast. And we opened officially with 2 rooms. And I still had my office in because we have a 3-bedroom house. And so we had the 2 rooms upstairs for the guest house. The 1 room downstairs was my office. And of course, the other room downstairs is our own private bedroom. And so about, I'm going to say 2 years in, that's when things, before the pandemic, that's when things were just going great guns. And I had waiting lists on some weekends of folks trying to get a room. And I said, boy, if I just had another room. And Mark is like, where are we going to sleep? He said, you're about to give away our bedroom. And I said, no. I said, I think I'm going to give away our office. And he goes, well, where's the office going to go? And I said, I don't know. I'll find something. So as you girls know that have been to my house, I squeezed my office into the corner of my kitchen. And then Mark and I turned that 3rd room into a guest room. So we're currently at 3. And, our occupancy has gone down some with the pandemic, but we're still filling those 3 rooms almost every weekend.
Wow, that's quite nice, isn't it? You mentioned that a B&B is a dream recovery, not a dream discovery. What does that mean?
Well, that's a phrase Carrie gave me. When I was 12 years old, I told my mom that one day I was going to own a bed and breakfast. Now, at 12, I didn't even know what a bed and breakfast was. I think I read a book or something. and I didn't even know what that was. But then, for those of you that don't know me, I have 20 years experience in the hospitality industry, working in hotels around Columbus as a senior sales manager. And so I did that for a lot of years. And so that's really kind of my first passion. The salon industry I loved everything about it, but I got into the industry because the income was so good, and because I could, fund real estate as a retirement. I had no retirement. So the whole salon industry was my retirement plan to get to retirement. But my passion was always hospitality. So that's why Carrie told me that opening my bed and breakfast was my dream recovery, not my dream discovery, that I recovered that dream from age 12.
I see. Yes, I remember watching the progress of going from one room down to the three, and it was amazing what you have done for that. But yet it's really cool because you've always talked about the stories that were shared by your guests and where
Yes.
they were from, and what they did, and why they came to Columbus. So that's always very intriguing to hear why somebody wants to go to a private bed and breakfast room versus a hotel where it's
Mm-hmm.
always busy, noisy,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't focus, you can't concentrate, and you can't relax. So I totally understand that. My next question is, you have a lot of mastermind groups. So define what a mastermind group is.
Well, an actual honest to goodness mastermind group is where everyone enters the group on equal grounds, if you will. And there is usually one focus in mind, and you put whatever that focus or topic is out to the group, and then the entire group masterminds it, or they all put in their opinions and their thoughts, and depending on what the goal is of the topic. My mastermind groups are very similar to that, with a little bit of a hybrid twist, because I actually steer the content as to what we're going to talk about, and I do a coaching on that at the very beginning of the mastermind meetup, and then we break into the mastermind session. So mine's just a little bit of a hybrid. So the ones that I'm actually developing, they go along with my courses. And so each one has its own free meetup, and then each one has its own course, and then each one has its own mastermind that also includes the course. And so basically we're masterminding the course.
What are the names of the mastermind groups that you have?
Oh, you're going to ask me to do those off the top of my head.
Of course. Kathy, you're so good. You're spontaneous.
Yep, I want to make sure that I do them in the right order. So I will, if you'll give me just a second, I will look those up and do them in the right order. So those are, the first one I know is the Fit as a Fiddle, and I haven't launched that one yet. So that one you won't find. If you remember, some of the gals on this call actually went through that Fit as a Fiddle one when I was doing a 5-week mastermind on it. And so that's my next one to launch, by the way. But what's launched already is I have the Happy House Hunters group, and that's all about the 6 F's of real estate. That's the finding, the funding, the fixing, the flipping, the filling, and finally, what is your freedom number in real estate? The second one is newbie bloggers. It's how to create and monetize a blog. And I've got gals that are working on that. Fran and Sally and Debbie, we're all in that one. The ins and outs of a B&B, and of course that's the guest house bed and breakfast one, and it's called the ins and outs of a B&B. It's everything you need to know to open your own bed and breakfast. And then we have build a better business, and that one is all about from startup to a full-time gig, how to start up your own business. And it's all about how to do your VPS, how to create your offers, and then, you know, how to market all of that across the internet, since so much of everything is virtual these days. And then from there, I have Write from Anywhere in the World. That one is actually sponsored by the Ohio Writers Guild. And it's just a meetup group, and we're just now getting ready to launch our mastermind on folks that want to actually monetize their writing, not just blog posts, but all kinds of writing, whether they're writing like freelance work, or if they're doing writing books, or whatever it is they're writing. It can be any kind of writing. And then we have Connections Over Coffee. That's where we're creating a world of giving. The Connections Over Coffee meetup group is just kind of like this. It's just a chat where we sit and chat. But at the end of the day, we want to give. And that means a lot of things to a lot of people. It could mean giving your time. It could mean, you know, making meals for someone. It could mean donating to a cause. So it's just creating a world of giving. And then the last one is networking, and it's Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, which is a book written by John Maxwell. And we've turned that into a free meetup, and everyone is just learning how to network better. So, and that one will be turning into a course and mastermind as well. So that's a lot of information, but and all of it comes under the umbrella for me of freestyle living. Because if you can network better, and you are giving, and you've got your business, firm foundation under your business, and you've monetized all of your writings, and you've got some investments under your belt, and you're healthy, when you put all of that together, that just spells freestyle living to me.
Well, does anyone, how would you qualify to join the Simply Start or any of your mastermind groups?
Well, I just recommend that everyone just tap into the free, you know, because each one of them has its own free meetup, and all of those are found on my Simply Start calendar page on my website, which is kathybinner.com. And just go to the calendar, and all of it is on the calendar. And then as we launch the masterminds, the mastermind groups are also on the calendar. And it'll be very clear which ones are free and which ones are paid masterminds.
Okay, so if any of them have a tuition, when you would go into Kathy Binner International Academy and scroll down and find the particular one you're interested in, that's where you would find the cost for tuition.
Yes, all the masterminds, they're all just $25 a month each, and it's just a reoccurring payment as long as you want to stay in the mastermind. And if you decide you want to leave a mastermind, you simply unenroll.
Okay, so now considering the fact that you're a writer and I'm writing, what is it? Can you describe when you say, can you write from anywhere in the world and really get paid to do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are so many companies out there that are desperate for writers. Probably the best and easiest way to get started writing is, and to hone your skills, is to be a freelance writer. And that way you're not punching the time clock. You're just taking on a job for a company where they want you to write anything. It could be they want you to write their newsletter every month, or they want you to write their blog post every month if it's a company that wants to have some blog post visible. And it can be anything from a dentist office to a real estate firm. Doesn't matter what the business is. They're all looking for writers. Some of them are just looking for writers to write content for their website. So there's just all kinds of ways that you can write, and that's a perfect way to hone your skills and get paid for writing. And you can do that from anywhere, because you can send that back to the company. As long as you have a Wi-Fi connection in your laptop, you can write from anywhere in the world.
So it's true then, you could actually go out, travel, write for other companies, get paid for that. But then my dream is to always be able to click into my folder on my desktop and continue working on my story.
Absolutely.
And that's nice. You can do both.
Yes. And then when you're ready to publish and launch, you can then publish your story and if you have it in mind as you're writing the story, you can then create courses and masterminds around your story and get paid
That's very
for that as well.
well. Kathy, this has been very enlightening. I have to tell you, I myself have probably learned a few extra things that I didn't know after all these years. But it's nice to have you on here to explain for new people because, you know, you got to get your name out there and who you are. So would you leave us with the information on how our listeners can reach out to you?
Yes, thanks for asking that. It's incredibly simple. Just go to kathybinner.com. Everything is there on my homepage. All the links are there. And if you just want to explore and click around, it'll take you out to the different classes and the different masterminds, and you can read about them. And then it also has a link to my blogs are also on my homepage. And then, of course, last but not least, that Simply Start calendar, where it has all of the events, and the links are also there to RSVP to any of the events.
Well, that's awesome, Kathy. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I just want to say thank you, Franz. Thank you, Sally, for joining us on this inaugural platform. And I have to say, I'm going to love this going forward. I will say that ask you to just email me if you would like to set an appointment or an interview time on which month would be convenient for you. I already know who our guest is going to be next month, and you'll be surprised to see where she's going to be talking to us from. But I'm not going to say who it is. You all will have to just tune in, see who's on the hot seat, and I look forward to seeing more of you next month. And just one final thought: this interview is being recorded, so that those of you that weren't able to make it today, you can tune in and just watch, get an idea, get a feel for who we are, who I am. I'm just me, little old me. But I will say that I'm not little old me. I'm a grandmother of 9 kids, grandchildren, and so my days are full. I love it.
So
But,
Debbie, how can we connect with you?
Well, connecting with me is pretty simple. I'm Debbie Marks on Facebook, and I'm in the process of creating a blog website for myself. And for right now, if you want to connect with me, please go to this meetup, meetup.com, fireside chat with Debbie Marks, and locate my email, and please send me an email, or if you would like to give me a call, my phone number's there. I would love to hear from you, but I'll give you a little hint. I don't always answer numbers that I recognize. So please leave me a message and I will get right back to you.
Debbie, I can put your email in the chat for everyone. What is your actual email address?
It is Debbie Marks, DebbieMarks 54 at yahoo.com. And my phone number?
Perfect. Oh, I can do that.
My phone number is 740-243-4085. Just leave me a message.
243-4085.
That's correct.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I look forward to the month of April and the guests that will be on our hot seat then. Thanks, ladies. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.